There's a retired FBI agent who wrote an open letter to James Comey. I want to go through some of this again, if I may. I know a lot of you are coming in and out, and he actually puts his name on it. Hugh Galen, FBI agent. He writes to Comey, I'm writing regarding your public statement July 2016 informing the American people the FBI investigation of Hillary Clinton was being closed without referring it to the federal grand jury or the Attorney General of the U.S. for a decision on whether or not to indict her. Strangely, you eloquently laid out enough of the evidence deduced from the investigation to strongly indicate there was an abundance of evidence uncovered during the investigation and interview of her to not only indict but to convict her in federal court. However, you personally reworded and soft-pedaled the action she took as Secretary of State, describing her actions as extremely careless in using a personal email and an unsecured server for her communications while being Secretary of State. You rewrote the statute, which is not your job. As a retired special agent of the FBI, I have standing to write this letter. My 30 years in law enforcement, including 22 years as a special agent with the FBI, have given me the knowledge, the expertise, the experience to question and confront you for your perplexing actions, which, as you well know, were outside the normal standard operating procedure of the FBI and federal judicial procedures. Some of the finest people in the world proudly carry the credentials of FBI agent, and you have soiled them and not allowed them to speak, but I will not be silent. Sorry, but no, sir. Ms. Clinton was not merely careless or extremely careless. She was not even negligent or grossly negligent as the statute requires. Hillary Clinton was knowingly purposeful in her decisions and actions to set up a server under her exclusive control and possession in order to control what information was available to the American public and Congress regarding her actions as Secretary of State. Furthermore, she took those government-owned communications into her personal possession after leaving her position and knowingly and willingly attempted to destroy them, so her nefarious actions could never be known or used as evidence of her corrupt moral character against her. By the way, one of the WikiLeaks emails, you know what they said? Oh, that's handled, right? We handled all that. Sir, what possessed you? Did you give in to political pressure to unilaterally come to this decision? I fear that is the case, and the rule of law be damned. I'm embarrassed for and ashamed of you. You have set a precedent that can never be rectified and certainly never justified. Shame on you, sir. You ought to resign right now in disgrace for what you have done to tarnish the reputation of the finest law enforcement agency in the world for entirely political reasons. Normally, an investigation will be assigned to an agent or team of agents, with one being the case agent or lead investigator. When the investigation is complete, an investigative report will be presented to the U.S. Attorney for the federal district involved. It would be the U.S. Attorney who decides whether to decline prosecution for that investigation, not the FBI agent. But in the Clinton investigation, you unilaterally decided not to go forward with the investigation, to send it to the U.S. Attorney and Attorney General of the U.S., but instead personally made the decision not to prosecute her or even provide the information to a federal grand jury. You were wrong to take this upon yourself. In order to indict a subject, only a preponderance of evidence, or 51%, is needed for probable cause to exist. You did not think even that level of probability existed? Who do you think you're fooling? What judicial proceeding did you think you were following? Throughout my years with the FBI, along with my fellow agents, we took great pride in conducting each investigation in an unbiased manner, regardless of the subject's position or standing in the community. All were treated equally under the law. But you, sir, decided to allow this corrupt, evil, nasty human being to go free and unchallenged for her treasonous actions. Yes, treasonous in my opinion, which threaten the security of this nation. Furthermore, you stopped short of investigating the Clinton Foundation as a RICO case, racketeering, influenced, and corrupt organization. This is a RICO case if ever there were one. Even an untrained person can tell the communications which were recovered from Hillary's email spent more time working for the Clinton Foundation while Secretary of State than on state business. It may be argued that Hillary did not do any state business unless the Clinton Foundation benefited. You decided to just let this uncomfortable truth alone without addressing it. Well, I conclude with this. Following my retirement from the FBI, I volunteered for a 12-month tour of duty in Afghanistan as a law enforcement professional embedded with U.S. forces as a subject matter expert in counterterrorism investigation. For most of that year, I operated outside the wire, patrolling with troops, interviewing witnesses to IED incidents, gathering evidence on the bad guys. The result of my work would then be reported through secure channels to the commanding officer. All reports, communications were required to be transmitted via secure and encrypted devices. Occasionally, my remote location in the mountains of Afghanistan made transmission impossible, and I'd have to fly back to Bagram Air Base in order to securely report to the commander of the battle space. It would have been convenient if I could have just called the commander on my personal cell phone or written him an email on my personal laptop, but had I done so, I would have been reporting classified information via unsecured devices, and it could have compromised that information. Now, these were relative to Secretary of State Communications low-level classifications of secret. Had I ever sent even one in such a manner, I would have been prosecuted and sent to federal prison for 20 years. That's how serious this is considered. Now, because of you, Hillary Clinton is allowed to continue her RICO activities, running for president, the most powerful position in the world, and you have trampled on the rule of law, destroyed the trust of the American people in the FBI, and in unbiased enforcement of the law. How do you sleep at night? It's time for you to go to work for the Clinton Foundation. Wow.